Through this video, I'm going to share with you 13 distinctive features to recognize a black magician. Identification number 1 is if he asks you your name and your mom's name, then he is a black magician. But jinns, they recognize human beings by mom's name, but not by dad's name. If he writes broken letters on a piece of paper or a plate made of white porcelain and instructs you to dissolve the writing in water and drink it, then he is a magician. It's normal. It's normal in my place in India. And if he writes incantations, taweez or amulets, then he is a magician. And if he recites unclear incantations, then he is a magician. For example, he says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. He recites something which is unclear. Or sometimes they say, Bismillahi wa bi Rasulihi wa bi Jibril wa bi Mikal wa bi Israfil. These kinds of unclear incantations, then he is a magician. And if he murmurs unclear words, then he is a magician. He may say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhaakumut Takasur. And he recites something and he rises again, and he goes back and he rises again, then he is a magician. If he murmurs unclear words, then he is a magician. If he gives you these kinds of incantations on which you find squares and lines and pentagon, hexagon and all the symbols, and he writes something in it, then he is a magician. And if he takes a sweaty garment from you and he says that he's gonna cure you through the sweaty garment, then he is a magician. And if he asks you to get a specific kind of animal with certain features, with certain specifications, then he is a black magician. For example, if he asks you to get black crow, black sheep or ram, if he instructs you to not to touch water for a certain period of time, then he is a magician. If he gives you pieces of paper and asks you to burn it in the morning or in the evening, then he is a magician. And if he gives you something to bury in the ground, then he is a magician. And if he instructs you to be in a dark room for a certain period of time and do not talk to people for this certain period of time, then he is a magician. And if he informs you your name, your town's name, and the purpose of the visit, then he is a magician. If he claims that he knows unseen, then he is a magician, because no one knows unseen except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if he claims to know the unseen, then he is a magician. At the time of Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah alayhi, a person challenged that he knows the number of grains in your bag. And when he came to the town of Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah alayhi and said that I can tell the number of grains in your bag. So everyone came with the grains in their bags, and he, as per the challenge, he said, your bag contains 100 grains, 200 grains, 500,000. But when the turn of Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah alayhi came, he couldn't tell. So Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah alayhi refuted him and said that if you don't leave this place, I'm going to inform the Khalifa. So when people came to Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah alayhi and asked, how could he not tell about the grains in your bag, and how could he tell about the grains in our bag? So Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah alayhi said, when you counted the grains, your qareen or the jinn with you, associated with you, he counted those grains. And he informed the jinn, the qareen of the magician. But in my case, I didn't count. I put all the grains in my bag and I came here. So these people take the help of the jinn to know the unseen, and if they inform you the purpose of the visit, the number of rooms in your house, and the relatives in your house, your family members, and everything, then he is a magician. He is not a Muslim.